"You contributed nothing, Helen. Nothing." My daughter-in-law said those words to me on Christmas night, in front of my entire family, after I spent $3,000 of my late husband's life insurance money on gifts for my grandchildren. She thought she could steal my money, steal the credit, and steal my place in their memories. I walked out without saying a word. But 48 hours later, one phone call changed everything, and trust me, karma hit harder than I ever could. I didn't cry. I didn't raise my voice. I simply picked up my worn leather purse, the one Richard gave me before he died, and walked toward the door. The clicking of my shoes on their marble floor was the only sound in that enormous living room. What she didn't know was that in exactly 48 hours, a single phone call would change everything she thought she controlled. The cold air hit my face as I stepped outside. I could smell the pine from their Christmas tree through the open door. My hands were shaking, but not from the December wind. I could taste metal in my mouth, that metallic taste that comes right before you break down completely. The porch lights reflected off the snow, creating tiny rainbow prisms that usually make me smile. Not tonight. Tonight, everything looked fake, artificial, like the smile I had worn for 6 hours. My car was parked 3 blocks away because their driveway was full of expensive cars. BMWs, Teslas, a Porsche. I walked past them in my simple wool coat, the navy blue one I've had for 12 years. Each step crunched against the frozen sidewalk. I could hear laughter from inside. My grandchildren, my son, her. Do you know what the worst part was? The gifts were still there, all of them. Wrapped in paper I had chosen myself, each one with a tag that said, "From Grandma Helen," in my handwriting. But when little Emma opened hers, a beautiful wooden dollhouse I had spent weeks searching for, my daughter-in-law Jennifer leaned down and whispered loud enough for me to hear, "Mommy bought this for you, sweetheart. Do you like it?" I watched Emma nod, watched her hug Jennifer, watched my $3,000 in savings become Jennifer's motherhood moment. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me tell you how I ended up standing in my son's living room, watching a woman steal not just my money, but my place in my grandchildren's memories. It started 4 months earlier, September 18th, Thursday afternoon, around 2:30 p.m. I was watering tomatoes in my small garden when my phone rang. The screen showed Michael, and my heart did that little jump it always does when my son calls. He's busy. Big job, big house, big life. When he calls, it means he needs me, and I love being needed. "Mom, I need to talk to you about Christmas." His voice sounded tight, stressed, traffic noise in the background. "Of course, sweetheart. What's on your mind?" Jennifer and I have been talking. The kids are at that age where Christmas really matters, where they remember everything. We want to make sure they have the best Christmas possible, really special. But money is tight right now with the new house and everything. This confused me. Michael made great money. He was a financial consultant for some big firm. But I'm his mother. If he needed help, I would help. "What do you need, Michael?" A pause. I heard him take a breath. "We made a list of gifts for the kids. Good quality things that will last. Educational toys, books. But it comes to about $3,000 total. $3,000. My entire savings account had $4,200. Money I had saved from Richard's life insurance. Money for emergencies, for repairs, for medical bills. I know it's a lot, Mom, but Jennifer thought maybe you'd want to be the one to buy them, to be the grandmother who makes Christmas magical. The kids would be so happy. Would they? Or would Jennifer just take credit like she always did? But I didn't say that. Michael sounded so tired, so stressed. And I remembered when he was small and I was struggling, how hard it was to give him everything. "Let me think about it, sweetheart." "Thanks, Mom. I knew you'd understand. Jennifer will send you the list tomorrow." The list arrived at 9:47 a.m. the next morning, Friday, September 19th. I was drinking my coffee when my phone buzzed. An email from Jennifer. No greeting, just a spreadsheet, an actual Excel file with items, prices, and links. I opened it on my old laptop. The cursor moved slowly as I scrolled down. For Emma, age 7, wooden dollhouse, $450, American Girl doll, $3.20. Art supplies, $180. For Jacob, age 5, Lego set, $2.90. Educational tablet, $3.50. Train set, $2.75. For Sophie, age 3, play kitchen, $3.80. Costume collection, $2.40. Building blocks, $195. Books, clothes, winter coats from expensive brands, total $3,047. At the bottom, Jennifer had written, Helen, we thought you'd appreciate having this organized for you. Michael says you like to shop early. Please have everything delivered to our address by December 1st so we can wrap them properly. Thanks. Thanks. Not thank you. Just thanks. I sat there staring at that screen until my coffee got cold, until the numbers blurred, until I had to close my eyes and count to 10 just to keep breathing. $3,000 was everything I had saved in 5 years of widow life, 5 years of eating simple meals, 5 years of fixing things myself, 5 years of saying no to trips, new clothes, dinners out. But these were my grandchildren, the only piece of Richard I had left. They had his eyes. Emma had his smile, Jacob had his laugh, Sophie had his stubborn chin. If $3,000 could buy me a place in their Christmas memories, wasn't it worth it? I clicked reply. I'll do it. Love, Mom. What I didn't know then was that those 4 words would lead me to the most humiliating moment of my entire life. But I'll get to that. But before I continue, check if you're already subscribed to the channel and leave your like. And tell me in the comments, where in the world are you listening to my story from? I really want to know how far it has reached. The shopping took 3 weeks. I went to every store Jennifer had specified, ordered everything online exactly as listed. I used my credit card because my savings weren't enough for everything at once. I figured I'd pay it off slowly. Each package that arrived felt like a small weight being added to my chest. The dollhouse came in a box so big I could barely lift it. The tablet came with activation instructions I didn't understand. The play kitchen arrived in pieces that would need assembly. I kept everything in my spare bedroom, Richard's old office. I would go in there sometimes and just look at the boxes, at the $3,000 worth of love I had purchased, at the proof that I was a good grandmother. On October 12th at 3:15 p.m., I called Michael to tell him everything had been purchased. Instead of gratitude, I got Jennifer's voice. Helen? Michael's in a meeting. What do you need? I bought everything on the list, all the Christmas gifts. Silence. The calculating kind. Already? Did you keep the receipts? The receipts? Why, in case we need to return anything, we need them for our records. Our records. Not thank you. Our records. I can send the email confirmations. Forward everything to me. I'll organize it. Click. I stood there, chest tight, wondering what just happened. But I told myself Jennifer was just organized. Type A. Michael had said so when they started dating. I could work with that, as long as I got to see my grandchildren's faces on Christmas morning. The next few weeks passed in strange silence. Calls went to voicemail. Texts got short responses. Busy. Talk later. When I asked to visit, take Emma and Jacob to the park like I used to, the response came 3 hours later. Calendar is packed, maybe next month. Next month became the month after. October became November. November became 3 weeks until Christmas. On December 2nd at 10:20 a.m., I drove to their house without calling. I know that violates boundaries with adult children, but I needed to see them, needed to know I still existed in their world. Jennifer answered in expensive yoga clothes. She looked annoyed. Helen, we weren't expecting you. I brought cookies for the kids, my gingerbread recipe, Michael's favorite. I held out the red plastic container, the same one I'd used for 20 years. It looked shabby against her pristine door frame. She didn't take it. The kids are on a restricted sugar diet. We're establishing healthy eating habits. Michael had lived on sugar cookies every December and turned out fine. But I nodded. Maybe just one each, as a treat? I don't think so. Thanks for thinking of them. She started closing the door, actually closing it. Wait, can I just see them? I haven't seen them since August. Her face did something strange. Guilt? Annoyance? Calculation? They're napping. It was 10:30 a.m. Emma was 7. Jacob was 5. They hadn't napped in years. Maybe I could wait. We have family plans this afternoon. Maybe another time. The door closed. The lock clicked. I walked to my car slowly, like moving too fast might shatter me. I drove 3 blocks, pulled over, and let myself cry. But only in the car. Only where no one could see. What I didn't know was Jennifer was watching from her upstairs window, watching me break and feeling satisfied, because she had a plan since September, and I was playing my part perfectly. The weeks before Christmas became a countdown to something I couldn't name but felt in my bones. I wrapped each gift with dollar store paper, gold and red. I wrote tags in my best handwriting. To Emma, with love from Grandma Helen. Each tag was proof I existed, that I mattered. I delivered everything December 15th at 4:47 p.m. Jennifer had texted, "Leave everything in the garage. Side door code is 4792. Don't ring the bell." I became a delivery person to my own family. I punched in the code, carried in box after box. $3,047 worth of gifts stacked in the corner of their 3-car garage, next to Michael's BMW and Jennifer's Mercedes. I left without seeing anyone, without a thank you. But I still had Christmas. Jennifer had sent the invitation in November. Christmas dinner at 5 p.m. Don't bring anything, just yourself. I had that email saved, read it 30 times. Just yourself meant I was enough. On December 20th, Michael called. Actually called. "Mom, hey, listen, when you come on Christmas, could you park on the street? We're having a lot of family over and the driveway will be full." Family. A lot of family. But I wasn't important enough for driveway space. "Of course. Whatever you need." "Thanks, Mom. You're the best. See you on the 25th. He hung up before I could say I love you. I should have known then, should have seen the pattern. But hope makes you ignore red flags, makes you show up to Christmas dinner believing everything will finally be okay. So that's exactly what I did. Christmas morning arrived cold and gray. I woke at 6:23 a.m. to snow hitting my window. In 7 hours, I would walk into my son's house for Christmas dinner. In 7 hours, I would see my grandchildren open the gifts I had sacrificed everything to buy. In 7 hours, everything would shatter. But I didn't know that yet. I made coffee, the expensive beans I saved for special occasions. I dressed carefully in my nicest outfit, a green sweater Richard bought me on our 30th anniversary, and black slacks I'd had dry cleaned specifically for today. I put on the pearl earrings Michael gave me for my 60th birthday. I wanted to look like I belonged. At 11:15 a.m., I wrapped my last gift, bought with my final $200, a cashmere scarf for Jennifer, cream-colored, elegant. I'd seen her admiring one in a catalog she left at my house. Maybe if I showed her I paid attention, things might improve. Hope. That drug again. I left at 4:17 p.m. The drive normally takes 40 minutes. With snow, it took an hour. I listened to Christmas music. Silent Night, Oh Holy Night. Songs that made my throat tight. I parked 3 blocks away like Michael asked. Walked past expensive cars in the driveway, a Lexus, a Range Rover with New York plates. Through the windows I saw people, champagne glasses, laughter. The house glowed warm and golden. I almost turned around. Something in my chest screamed at me to leave. But I had been invited. I was supposed to be there. I rang the doorbell at 5:02 p.m. Michael opened the door in an expensive sweater I'd never seen. "Mom, you made it. Come in." The house was full of strangers. Jennifer's family, her parents, sisters, cousins, children running, adults with wine glasses. Everyone dressed in clothes that probably cost more than my monthly Social Security check. I stood there holding my wrapped scarf, suddenly understanding how much I didn't belong. Jennifer appeared in a red designer dress, hair styled in perfect waves, diamond earrings catching light. She looked at me, eyes traveling from my face to my sweater to my practical snow boots. "Helen, you're here. Michael, get your mother something to drink." Your mother, not your mom, like a title, like a burden. "Kids, come say hi to Grandma Helen." Emma, Jacob, and Sophie came running in matching velvet outfits. They looked like catalog children. I wanted so badly to hug them. "Hi, Grandma," Emma said, her voice polite, rehearsed. "Hi, sweetie. Merry Christmas." "Can we go back to playing now?" Jacob asked Jennifer. "Not me." "Of course, baby." They disappeared. I stood there with empty arms and a breaking heart. Do you know what's worse than being rejected? Being tolerated. Dinner was called at 5:45 p.m. 23 people around their enormous table. Jennifer's father at the head, her mother beside him, Jennifer and Michael with the children. I was placed at the far end next to Jennifer's teenage nephew, who stayed on his phone the entire meal. The food was catered, professional, nothing I had cooked, nothing I contributed. I was just another guest. After dinner, Jennifer announced presents. Everyone moved to the living room, where a massive tree stood surrounded by mountains of wrapped gifts. The children squealed. Adults settled with coffee and wine. I sat near the back, waiting. In minutes, Emma would open her dollhouse, Jacob his Lego set, Sophie her play kitchen. They would know their Grandma Helen loved them. In minutes, everything would become the cruelest moment of my life. Jennifer stood by the tree like a conductor. Michael filmed on his phone. The children sat cross-legged, vibrating with anticipation. "Okay, babies. Emma, open the big one with the red bow." Emma reached for a massive box. The dollhouse. My dollhouse. $450. My heart pounded. This was my moment. Emma tore the paper, gasped, saw the beautiful wooden house with tiny furniture and working lights. "Mommy, it's perfect. It's exactly what I wanted." She ran to Jennifer, hugged her. Jennifer knelt down and said, loud enough for everyone to hear, "I'm so glad you love it, baby. Mommy worked so hard to find the perfect one." The room erupted. Jennifer's mother beamed. Someone said, "Jennifer, you're such a good mom." I sat frozen. My wine glass shook. Michael was still filming, still smiling, saying, "Great job, Jen." I opened my mouth to say, "Actually, I bought that," but my throat closed. My voice disappeared. I could only watch as Jacob opened his Lego set. "Thank you, Mommy," and Sophie her play kitchen. "Mommy, you're the best." Every gift I purchased, every dollar I spent, every sacrifice I made, all became Jennifer's moment, Jennifer's generosity, Jennifer's love. I became invisible. Worse than invisible, the audience to my own erasure, gift after gift. Thank you, Mommy. 23 people watching Jennifer receive gratitude for $3,047 she never spent. Not one person questioned it. Not even my own son. Especially not my own son. I should have stood up, should have told everyone the truth. But I couldn't move, couldn't breathe, could only sit there feeling my heart ripped out piece by piece. Then Jennifer looked at me, made direct eye contact, and smiled. Not a friendly smile, a smile that said, "I won, and there's nothing you can do about it." That's when I knew this wasn't an accident. This was planned, calculated, intentional. This was cruelty disguised as Christmas. The gift opening continued for another 37 minutes. Each "thank you, Mommy" felt like a knife. At 7:43 p.m., the defining moment happened. Jennifer walked past me, stopped, leaned down close to my ear, close enough that I could smell her expensive perfume. She whispered, "These gifts, I bought them all. You contributed nothing, Helen. Nothing." Her breath was warm, her voice cold as the snow outside. Each word deliberate, like she'd been waiting months to say them. I looked up. Our eyes met. She wasn't angry or guilty. She was proud, proud of what she had done, proud of how perfectly she had executed her plan. Something inside me shifted, like tectonic plates moving before an earthquake. I stood up slowly. No one was watching. No one cared. I was furniture. Irrelevant. I picked up my purse and walked toward the door. My footsteps echoed on their marble floor. "Helen, you're leaving already?" Michael's voice. He was holding Sophie. Yes, I'm leaving, but we haven't even had dessert yet. Dessert. Not why I looked ready to collapse. Not why I had sat silently through 2 hours of watching my sacrifices stolen. Dessert. I'm tired, Michael. Okay. Thanks for coming. Drive safe. Thanks for coming. Not, I love you. Not, are you okay? Just, thanks for coming. I reached for the door handle. Then Jennifer spoke, loud enough for everyone to hear. Helen, you forgot your gift. She was holding the cashmere scarf. My last $200. She walked toward me, but not like someone receiving a gift, like someone who had already decided to reject it. This is beautiful, but I just bought myself a scarf exactly like this last week. Hermès, from Paris. Michael surprised me with it. She pushed it against my chest, gently, politely, in front of 23 witnesses who would never know how cruel this was. Maybe you should keep it. You deserve nice things too, Helen. As if I was some charity case. As if my scarf was pathetic compared to her Hermès. I took it. Everyone was watching, smiling, thinking Jennifer was so kind. Thank you, I said without shaking. Merry Christmas, Helen. She kissed my cheek. A performance for her audience. I walked out, past the luxury cars, past houses with warm lights, 3 blocks through falling snow. I didn't cry until I closed my car door. Only then did I fold over my steering wheel and sob like I hadn't since Richard's funeral. But here's what neither of us knew. In 48 hours, my phone would ring with a question that would give me power I never knew I had. I got home at 9:34 p.m., walked into my small house that Richard and I bought 42 years ago. I looked at my Christmas tree, at the presents underneath for Emma, Jacob, and Sophie. Handmade ornaments, photo albums, a quilt I'd been sewing for months, worthless. Jennifer would take these too, would erase me from these as well. I sat on my couch, still in my coat, still holding my rejected scarf. Then I did something I hadn't done in 5 years. I opened Richard's locked desk drawer, insurance documents, bank statements, and at the bottom, in a manila envelope, something I'd forgotten existed. Richard's will. I read through it slowly. That's when I found the clause Richard had insisted on. The trust fund. $75,000 that would transfer to Michael on my death. Money Richard had saved his entire life. But there was a condition. In the event that Michael fails to honor and care for his mother with dignity and respect, the trustee shall have discretion to redirect the funds. The trustee. That was me. I had forgotten completely. Never thought I'd need this clause. Never thought Michael would abandon me. But here I was. And suddenly, I had leverage. More than leverage, I had justice waiting in 48 hours. On December 27th at 10:01 a.m., I had an appointment with my lawyer to review my estate planning. An appointment I'd scheduled 3 months ago and forgotten. Where I could tell him everything. Show him receipts. Document Jennifer's theft. Activate Richard's clause. Where I could take away $75,000 from a son who watched his wife humiliate his mother and said nothing. I sat there holding Richard's will, feeling something I hadn't felt in months. Power. Jennifer thought she had won, thought she had crushed me, thought I would disappear quietly. She was wrong. In 48 hours, I would set something in motion that Jennifer couldn't stop, that Michael couldn't fix, that no amount of expensive gifts or perfect performances could undo. In 48 hours, they would learn that stealing from a widow has consequences. I folded Richard's will carefully. But I didn't lock it away. I left it on my kitchen table where I would see it every morning. A reminder. A countdown. What Jennifer didn't know was that I had been documenting everything. Every email, every receipt, every text. Every time I tried to visit and was turned away. I'm 69 years old. I might seem helpless, but I was married to an accountant for 43 years. Richard taught me to keep records, to save everything. And I had records. So many records. 48 hours until Jennifer's perfect world started crumbling. Let her enjoy her victory. Let her drink champagne and laugh with her family. Because in 48 hours, I would take it all back. December 26th arrived with brutal sunshine. I woke at 5:47 a.m., face swollen from crying, body aching like I'd been in a physical fight. In 28 hours, I would sit across from my lawyer. In 28 hours, Jennifer's carefully constructed world would start to crack. I made coffee, sat at my kitchen table staring at Richard's will. My phone buzzed. Michael. Mom, thanks again for coming yesterday. The kids love their gifts. Talk soon. Their gifts. Not the gifts you bought. Not thank you for your generosity, as if they had materialized from thin air. I didn't respond. Instead, I opened my laptop and began printing. Every email Jennifer sent, every receipt, every bank statement showing withdrawals, every text from Michael asking me to be patient, evidence, documentation, proof. At 11:23 a.m., my phone rang. Unknown number. Mrs. Helen Morrison, this is David Chen from First National Bank. I'm calling about unusual activity on your credit card. My heart stopped. What kind of activity? Several large purchases yesterday, December 25th, totaling approximately $4,200. We wanted to verify these were authorized. $4,200, the exact amount left in my savings account. I didn't make those purchases. Can you tell me where the card was used? Papers rustling. Target in Millbrook, Best Buy in Westchester, Nordstrom in Millbrook, Westchester, Jennifer's shopping towns. My card was stolen. I hung up, ran to my purse, dumped everything out. My credit card was still there, but the magnetic strip looked scratched, worn, like it had been swiped multiple times. Jennifer hadn't stolen my card. She had copied it, probably months ago. She had waited until I was completely drained, then maxed out my credit card. This wasn't cruel impulse. This was premeditated theft. She had been plotting this since September, maybe longer. She had seen me as a resource to be emptied. I sat down hard. The room spun. I called the bank back, reported the fraud. 7 to 10 business days to investigate. 7 to 10 days, while $4,000 accumulated interest I couldn't pay. That's when I noticed something on my table. A folded paper I didn't remember putting there. In Jennifer's handwriting, "You should have stayed in your lane, Helen. Old women who can't contribute shouldn't expect to be included." She had slipped this into my purse during Christmas dinner, while I smiled and stayed quiet, like a snake leaving venom. Old women who can't contribute. Something inside me transformed. I called my lawyer's office. "This is Helen Morrison. I have an appointment tomorrow at 10 a.m. I need to move it up. Today, if possible. May I ask what this is regarding?" "Estate planning, fraud, theft. It's urgent. He has an opening at 4 p.m. today. I'll be there." I spent the next 3 hours organizing documents, every receipt, every email. I put Jennifer's note in a plastic bag. Evidence from a crime scene. At 3:30 p.m., I dressed in the black suit I'd bought for Richard's funeral. The one that made me look serious, professional, not like a helpless old woman. James Morrison stood when I entered. 73. Silver hair. Kind eyes. He had cried at Richard's funeral. "Helen, you said this was urgent?" I placed my folder on his desk. "James, I need to tell you what my son and his wife have done to me." I told him everything. The September call, the $3,000 list, Christmas dinner, the stolen credit, the note. My voice didn't shake. I presented facts like Richard taught me. James's face darkened. When I finished, he sat back. "Helen, this is financial elder abuse. We can press charges. Jennifer could face criminal prosecution." "I don't want that. Not yet. What do you want?" I pulled out Richard's will, pointed to the trust fund clause. "I want to remove Michael as beneficiary. All $75,000. James read carefully. "This will destroy your relationship with your son. My son watched his wife humiliate me, watched her steal from me. We don't have a relationship to destroy anymore, James. We have a polite fiction, and I'm done with fiction." He nodded. "I'll draft the paperwork. But Helen, There's something else. Women like Jennifer don't start with their husband's mother. They practice. This level of calculation, this isn't her first time. You think she's done this before? I have a friend, private investigator. He specializes in financial fraud. If Jennifer has a history, he'll find it. How much does he charge? He owes me a favor. James made the call. Elder abuse case. A possible fraud pattern. He hung up. His name is Marcus Webb. He'll start tomorrow. Look into Jennifer's background, financial records, past employment. What if he doesn't find anything? Then we proceed with just the trust fund revocation. But I've been doing this for 46 years. I know predators when I see them. And your daughter-in-law is a predator. I left at 5:47 p.m. The sky was pink and orange. For the first time since Christmas, I could breathe. In my car, my phone rang. Michael, I answered. Mom, Jennifer wanted me to call. She feels bad about the scarf. Wants to take you to lunch next week? Lunch. Like that would erase theft and humiliation. Michael, I need to ask you something. Did you know Jennifer was going to take credit for the gifts I bought? Silence. Long enough that I knew the answer. Mom, it's complicated. The kids don't understand money. Did you know? Jennifer thought it would be better for the kids to have consistency. So yes, you knew. Mom, and you let her. We didn't ask you to spend that much. You sent me a $3,000 list, Michael, and you repaid me by letting your wife humiliate me in front of her entire family. You're being dramatic. It was just gifts. It wasn't just gifts, my voice broke. It was every dollar I had saved. It was my place in my grandchildren's lives. It was my dignity, and you watched her take it all. Silence. Then quietly, I don't know what you want me to say, Mom. I want you to say you're sorry. I want you to say it was wrong. I can't fix this. Jennifer is my wife. I have to support her. And I'm your mother. I know, but it's different. Because I chose her. You're just my mom. You'll always be my mom. But Jennifer is my choice, my future. You're just my mom. Those 4 words hung in the air. Final. Devastating. Okay, I said calmly. Okay, Michael. You've made your choice clear. Mom, don't be like this. Tell Jennifer lunch won't be necessary. I won't be available. Why? What does that mean? It means in exactly 72 hours, you're going to receive a letter from my lawyer, and you'll understand exactly what happens when you choose a thief over your mother. I hung up, turned off my phone, drove home through darkness, and I didn't cry, because I was done crying over people who didn't deserve my tears. In 72 hours, the letter would arrive. In 72 hours, Michael would learn he had lost $75,000. In 72 hours, they would both learn what consequence feels like. December 27th began at 4:32 a.m. when my phone rang. Mrs. Morrison? Marcus Webb. James gave me your case. I've been working through the night. We need to talk. What did you find? Not over the phone. Meet me at James's office at 8:00 a.m. I couldn't sleep after that. By 7:15 a.m. I was out the door. Marcus was already there. Younger than I expected. Maybe 50. Wearing jeans and a leather jacket. He looked exhausted. Mrs. Morrison, your daughter-in-law is not who she claims to be. He turned his laptop toward me. Jennifer Patterson. In the past 15 years, she's been associated with 3 other elderly individuals who experienced significant financial losses. 3 other people. First was Gloria Chen, 81. Jennifer worked as her home health aide in 2011. Gloria died in 2013. $23,000 missing, withdrawn in small amounts over 2 years. My stomach turned. Second was Robert Walsh, 77, widower. Jennifer befriended him at a community center. He changed his will, leaving her $15,000. And the third? Marcus hesitated. Your husband, Richard. The room tilted. What? In the 6 months before Richard died, he withdrew $12,000 in cash. Small amounts. Always cash. Do you remember that? I did. Richard said it was for a surprise. Something special. He died before I found out what. Jennifer married your son 6 months later wearing an $8,000 wedding dress, a dress she claimed she saved for herself. Jennifer targeted Richard? I can't prove it definitively, but the pattern is clear. She identifies vulnerable people with money, gains their trust, takes what she can without getting caught. But Richard wasn't vulnerable. He was dying, Mrs. Morrison. People often feel sick before diagnosis. They get sentimental, make unusual decisions. Jennifer recognizes that, exploits it. I couldn't breathe. Had Jennifer smiled at Richard while emptying his pockets? Why isn't she in jail? Because she's smart, never takes enough to trigger major investigations, targets people who won't fight back, who die before they can testify. But I'm not dead. No, and that's her mistake. James leaned forward. Helen, we can report her to the police. Build a case, but it could take years with no guarantee of conviction. I want to proceed with the trust fund revocation, today. Already done. James slid a document across his desk. Just needs your signature. I picked up the pen. My hand didn't shake. I signed. Helen Morrison, trustee. Final. Michael will receive the letter tomorrow, December 28th. Marcus spoke up. Mrs. Morrison, there's something else. Jennifer's in debt. Serious debt. Credit cards maxed out. Car payment 3 months behind. They're upside down on the mortgage. But Michael makes good money. And Jennifer spends better money. Designer clothes, private school, she's bleeding them dry. That's why she needed your $3,000. Why she stole another $4,000. When she realizes she can't get the trust fund money, she'll panic. Desperate people do desperate things. Be careful. I left carrying copies of everything. Sat in my car trying to process it. Richard. She had taken from my dying husband. At 4:15 p.m., someone knocked on my door. 3 sharp knocks, urgent. I looked through the peephole. Jennifer. She was standing there in a black designer coat, face tight and angry. How did she know? The letter hadn't been sent yet. She knocked harder. Helen, I know you're in there. Open the door. I pulled out my phone, started recording, then opened the door. Jennifer pushed past me into my living room. We need to talk. How did you know to come here? Michael told me about your phone call, about some letter from your lawyer. What are you planning, Helen? I kept my phone in my hand, kept recording. I'm planning to protect myself from you. She laughed. Protect yourself? From me? What exactly do you think I've done? You stole $3,000, committed credit card fraud, took gifts I purchased and claimed them as your own. Humiliated you. Helen, I let you be part of Christmas. I let you see your grandchildren. That's more than you deserve. More than I deserve? You're old, useless. You contribute nothing except outdated values and guilt. Michael doesn't need you. I'm their family now. I'm all they need. The words came so easily, like she'd thought them 1,000 times. Is that what you told Gloria Chen before you stole from her? Or Robert Walsh? Or my husband? Her face changed, a flash of surprise. Then something harder. I don't know what you're talking about. I had you investigated, Jennifer. I know about Ohio, the home health job, the elderly people you befriended and robbed. I know what you are. She stepped closer, voice low, dangerous. You can't prove anything. Those cases were closed. Those people are dead. You're just a bitter old woman. I have documentation, evidence, a private investigator's report detailing 15 years of fraud. And who's going to believe you? Michael won't. He chose me. He'll choose me every single time over his pathetic mother who can't let go. She was right. Michael had already chosen. But she'd made a mistake. She'd come here and confessed, on tape. You should leave now, Jennifer. Or what? Call the police? Tell them your daughter-in-law was mean to you? I'm going to revoke the trust fund, $75,000 that was supposed to go to Michael. It's gone, as of this morning. You'll never see a penny. Her face went white. You can't do that. I already did. Richard put a clause in his will. I redirected the funds to a charity for elder abuse victims, in Richard's name. I watched her process this, Watched her realize $75,000 was gone. Unreachable. Michael will sue you. Let him try. And when he does, everything comes out. Your fraud, your theft, your past victims. Is that what you want? A court case where all your secrets become public record? She stared at me, jaw clenched, hands in fists. I saw the moment she considered violence. I held up my phone. I'm recording this. Every word, every threat. If you touch me, it's assault on a senior. That's a felony. Is $75,000 worth prison time? We stood there, 2 feet apart. One young and desperate, one old and done being afraid. You'll regret this. You'll die alone. You'll never see your grandchildren again. Maybe, but you'll know that you lost, that an old, useless woman outsmarted you. You'll know that for the rest of your life. She turned to the door, stopped, looked back. Those gifts, I'm throwing them away, every single one. I'm telling the kids they were cheap garbage that broke. Do what you need to do. It won't change what's coming. She left, slammed the door so hard my windows rattled. I sat down, saved the recording, emailed it to James and Marcus, evidence, documentation, confession. Tomorrow the letter would arrive. Tomorrow Michael would know what he lost. Tomorrow everything would change. Only 24 hours left until Jennifer learned that stealing from widows has consequences she never imagined. December 28th, the day the letter would arrive. I woke at 6 a.m. exactly. My body knew today everything became irreversible. The certified letter would be delivered between 10 a.m. and noon. Someone would have to sign for it. Probably Jennifer. She would read that $75,000 was gone. Then my phone would ring. I spent the morning preparing. Fraud alerts on all accounts. Changed my door locks. Called my neighbor, Mrs. Patterson, to watch for unusual activity. She was 74 and nosy in the best possible way. At 9:47 a.m., James called. Helen, the letter is out for delivery. Are you ready? As ready as I'll ever be. Remember, Michael will be angry. Don't engage. Just tell him the decision is final, and he should contact me with questions. I watched the clock. 10:00 a.m. came and went. 10:30. 10:45. At 11:03 a.m., my phone rang. Michael. I answered. Mom, what the hell did you do? His voice was furious, never directed at me with such venom before. Hello, Michael. I just got a letter from your lawyer. It says you're revoking Dad's trust fund. You can't do that. I can, and I did. Why? Because your feelings got hurt? That money was supposed to be mine. That money was supposed to go to a son who honored his mother. You did none of those things. I've been busy. I have a life, kids and a job. You watched your wife steal from me. You chose her over me. You told me yourself, I'm just your mom, but she's your choice. Silence. Then, you're punishing me because I love my wife? I'm protecting myself from a son who allowed his wife to commit fraud. Jennifer stole from me, Michael. $3,000 in gifts, $4,000 in credit card fraud. And you knew. Jennifer's voice in the background. Shrill, angry. Michael covered the phone. Then he was back. Mom, we need that money. We have expenses. You have a 6-figure salary. If you can't manage your finances, that's not my problem. Dad wanted me to have that money. Dad wanted you to take care of me. He put that clause specifically to protect me. And it's working exactly as he intended. Jennifer grabbed the phone. Helen, you vindictive old hag. I'm doing this out of self-preservation. You committed fraud. I have proof. Recordings. Documentation. If you continue, I'll take it all to the police. You wouldn't dare. Try me. Michael was back. Voice changed, desperate, pleading. Mom, please, we can fix this. Work this out. You don't have to do this. God help me. I almost caved. But then I heard Jennifer. Tell her we'll sue. Tell her she'll never see the kids again. Michael, the decision is final. Contact James Morrison if you have legal questions. Mom. I hung up, turned off my phone. At 2:34 p.m., another knock echoed through my quiet house. Sharp and insistent. Michael, alone this time. Through the window, I could see he looked absolutely exhausted. dark circles under his eyes, his clothes wrinkled like he'd slept in them. I opened the door slowly but didn't step aside to invite him in. I stood in the doorframe, blocking his entry. "Mom, please, can we talk? Just for a few minutes?" "What is there to talk about, Michael? What could you possibly have to say? I know things got out of hand yesterday. I know it was bad. Jennifer can be intense sometimes, but she's under a lot of pressure right now. You have to understand. Pressure to steal from elderly women, pressure to commit fraud. Your wife has done this before, Michael, multiple times. Did you know that?" His face changed instantly, confused, defensive. "What are you talking about? That's ridiculous. I had her investigated professionally. 3 other victims that we know of. Possibly 4 if you count your father, if you count Richard. That's insane. You're making this up. Gloria Chen, Robert Walsh, both lost significant money after befriending Jennifer. And your father withdrew $12,000 6 months before he died. Money that disappeared completely right before Jennifer bought her wedding dress. The expensive one she insisted on." Michael's face went deathly pale. His hand gripped the doorframe. "Dad's money was for... He said he was planning something special. A surprise for you." He was dying, Michael, vulnerable, confused from the medication. She saw an opportunity and took it without hesitation. "I have documentation, bank records, witness statements. Your wife is a con artist, Michael. She's been doing this for 15 years, maybe longer." He stood there processing, his mouth opening and closing. "Why didn't you tell me before? Why wait until now? I found out 3 days ago. The investigation just concluded. And would you have believed me if I had? You've made it abundantly clear whose side you're on. You've chosen Jennifer over me at every turn." He ran his hand through his hair roughly, a gesture so achingly Richard, so like his father when he was stressed. "I don't know what to do, Mom. I don't know how to handle this." "You acknowledge what she did. You apologize to me. You return the $4,000 she stole from me. You get Jennifer real professional help. You protect your children. And the trust fund? What about that? That's gone permanently. That's the consequence of your choices, of enabling her behavior." Tears filled his eyes, spilling over. "I love her, Mom. She's the mother of my children. I can't just abandon her. Love doesn't excuse abuse, Michael. It doesn't excuse theft. It doesn't make fraud acceptable. You can love her and still hold her accountable. Those aren't mutually exclusive. She'll leave me if I do that. She'll take the kids and disappear. I know her. Then you have a choice to make, Michael. Your wife or your integrity. Your convenience or your character. You can't have both anymore." He stood there struggling visibly, his whole body tense with the weight of it. "Finally, I need time to think, to figure this out. Take all the time you need. But the trust fund revocation stands. That's not negotiable." He turned to leave slowly, shoulders slumped, stopped halfway down the steps. "Mom, did you really love me? Or was I always just a disappointment to you?" The question broke my heart completely, shattered it. "Michael, I love you more than anything in this world. That's why this hurts so much, because you're my son, my only child. Watching you become someone who enables cruelty is the worst pain I've ever felt in my life. More than losing Dad? Different. When your father died, I lost my past, my partner. Watching you choose Jennifer over what's right, I'm losing my future, losing who I thought you were." He got in his car without another word, drove away quickly. I closed my door and cried hard, not because I regretted my decision, but because I knew what came next. Jennifer wouldn't accept this quietly. She was desperate now, cornered, and cornered animals attack viciously. At 6:42 p.m., Marcus called urgently. "Mrs. Morrison, we have a serious problem. Jennifer just withdrew maximum cash advances from 3 different credit cards. $7,000 total. She's liquidating assets." "What does that mean exactly?" "She's either planning to run, leave town, or planning something worse, something desperate. Lock your doors immediately. Don't answer if she comes back. Seriously consider staying somewhere else tonight. A hotel, a friend's house." "I'm not leaving my home. I won't be driven out. Then call someone you trust, a neighbor, someone who can check on you, keep watch. I called Mrs. Patterson immediately, asked her to keep her porch light on all night, watch my house for any unusual activity. She agreed without hesitation, concern in her voice. I locked every door, every window, checked them twice, turned on all outdoor lights, flooding my yard with brightness. And I waited tensely. Because Jennifer wasn't done with me yet. The letter had arrived, the money was gone, and she had nothing left to lose now. Tomorrow would bring the final confrontation. I could feel it coming. December 29th arrived with eerie silence, the kind that feels like a held breath before a storm. I had barely slept at all. Every sound made me jump, branches against windows, cars passing. By 5 a.m. I gave up completely and made coffee, watching the dark sky gradually lighten. At 7:23 a.m. my doorbell rang sharply. 2 police officers stood on my porch, official and serious. "Helen Morrison?" the female officer asked, consulting her notepad. "Yes? What's this about?" "I'm Officer Davis. This is Officer Reeves. We need to ask you some questions about a theft report filed by Jennifer Morrison." Jennifer had called the police. On me. The audacity was breathtaking. "Mrs. Jennifer Morrison claims you stole $75,000 from her family, from her children's inheritance." I almost laughed out loud. The sheer audacity, the manipulation. "Officers, may I show you something? Please, come inside." I pulled out my folder from the kitchen drawer. Richard's will, the trust fund establishment clause, the revocation document with my signature as legal trustee. This is a trust fund established by my late husband. I am the sole trustee with full discretionary authority. I exercised my legal right to redirect the funds to charity. No theft occurred. It's completely legal. Officer Davis read everything carefully, thoroughly. "This appears to be a civil matter, not criminal. You have clear legal authority here. There's more you should know." I told them everything. The credit card fraud in my name, Jennifer's history with other victims, the investigator's detailed report, the recording of her threats and partial confession. Officer Reeves listened intently, taking notes. "Mrs. Morrison, would you be willing to file formal charges for the credit card fraud?" This was the moment, the point of no return. If I filed charges, Jennifer could go to jail. My grandchildren would watch their mother arrested, handcuffed, humiliated. But if I didn't, she would keep doing this to other vulnerable people, other elderly women who couldn't fight back. "Yes," I said firmly. "I want to file charges, full charges." I filled out the form carefully, provided all documentation, bank statements, investigator reports, recordings. They took copies of everything, creating an official file. "We'll need to bring Mrs. Morrison in for questioning immediately. Given her criminal history and the evidence you've provided, the DA will almost certainly prosecute." They left at 8:47 a.m. I had just set something in motion that couldn't be stopped, couldn't be taken back. At 10:15 a.m., James called, his voice tense. "Michael's attorney is threatening to contest the trust fund revocation, filing papers. Can they win? Is there any chance?" "Not a chance in hell. Your authority is absolute." But there's something else Marcus discovered. Another victim. Patricia Drummond. She's still alive, and Jennifer is currently working at her community center as a volunteer coordinator. She has access to all member information, their addresses, their financial details. Jennifer was hunting again. Even now, even with everything falling apart. I called Patricia immediately. She answered on the first ring. "Is this Helen Morrison?" "Yes. I understand Jennifer targeted you several years ago?" "In 2019, within 3 months of befriending me, $4,000 was missing. Small withdrawals I didn't make. I couldn't prove it was her, but I knew. I'm pressing charges this morning, full criminal charges. Then I want to file a report too. I want justice." By noon, 3 more women had called my house, all elderly, all from the community center, all missing money after befriending Jennifer. Together, it formed an undeniable pattern of systematic elder fraud spanning 15 years or more. At 1:34 p.m., Marcus called breathlessly. "Helen, turn on the news immediately. Channel 7, right now." Jennifer, being led out of the community center in handcuffs, screaming at officers, struggling. The headline scrolling across the bottom, "Local woman arrested for elder fraud. Multiple victims come forward." I watched my daughter-in-law, always so composed and perfect, put into a police car. Watched her carefully constructed life crumble on live television. And I felt nothing. No satisfaction, no vindication. Just bone-deep exhaustion. Michael called minutes later, his voice panicked. "Mom, they arrested her. In front of everyone at the center. In front of people we know." "What am I supposed to tell the kids? How do I explain this?" "Tell them the truth, Michael. I can't tell them their mother is in jail. I can't do that." "Then tell them she made serious mistakes. She needs help. She has to face consequences. But don't lie to them, Michael. They deserve better than lies and deception. This is your fault. If you had just kept quiet, just let it go. If I had just let her keep stealing, keep victimizing vulnerable people. Your wife is a predator, Michael. I didn't make her that way. I just stopped enabling it, stopped protecting her. She's going to lose everything. Our house, her reputation. She stole from your father, Michael, while he was dying." His breath caught audibly. "What? What did you say?" "The $12,000 your father withdrew before he died. Jennifer took it, while he was dying of cancer, while he was vulnerable and confused from medication. She stole from him." I heard Michael crying, deep, wrenching sobs. For the first time since Richard's funeral. "Mom, what do I do? Please tell me what to do." The question I had waited for. My son asking me for help, like when he was small and lost. You protect your children first. You get Jennifer real help, professional help. And you learn that love doesn't mean enabling destructive behavior. Will you forgive me? Can you forgive me? I don't know, Michael. I honestly don't know. You chose someone who hurt me repeatedly, who dishonored your father's memory. That's not something I can just forgive overnight. So that's it? You're done with me forever? I'm done being treated like I don't matter, like I'm invisible. If you want a relationship with me, you have to earn it back. You start by telling Emma, Jacob, and Sophie the truth, that their grandma Helen bought those Christmas gifts, that I love them deeply, and you bring them to see me. I can do that. I will. I promise. We'll see, Michael. We'll see. The next few hours descended into complete chaos. News vans parked outside my house, reporters knocking constantly, Mrs. Patterson giving enthusiastic interviews about the brave woman next door who stood up to a criminal. James called to say Jennifer had been formally charged with multiple counts of fraud and elder abuse. Bail was set at $50,000. Michael couldn't afford it. She would stay in jail until her hearing, facing her victims. And at 6:52 p.m. on that cold December evening, my doorbell rang. The sound echoed through my quiet house, making my heart skip. Michael. But he wasn't alone this time. Through the frosted glass, I could see their silhouettes. He had brought Emma, Jacob, and Sophie with him. All three children bundled in their winter coats. I opened the door slowly, uncertain of what to expect after everything that had happened. "Hi, Mom." Michael's voice was soft, almost trembling. "The kids wanted to see you. They insisted. They have something important to say." Emma stepped forward carefully, holding the dollhouse I'd bought her with both hands as if it were something precious and fragile. "Grandma Helen, Daddy told us the truth. He told us you bought our Christmas presents. All of them. Every single one. And I'm so sorry we didn't say thank you. We should have thanked you right away." Jacob shuffled his feet nervously, clutching his Lego set against his chest. His voice was small but sincere. "Thank you, Grandma. Thank you so much. I love it. I play with it every day." Sophie, my youngest, broke free from Michael's hand and hugged my legs tightly, her face pressed against my knees. "Gammy? Love you, Gammy." I knelt down on my porch, ignoring the cold concrete against my knees. I pulled all three of them close to me, breathing in their familiar scent, sweet shampoo and winter air. I felt something frozen and hardened inside my chest start to thaw, like ice melting under spring sunshine. You're so very welcome, my darlings. Grandma loves you so, so much, more than you could ever know. When I looked up, Michael was crying openly, tears streaming down his face. I'm so sorry, Mom, for all of it. For everything I said, everything I didn't say, everything I let happen. You were right about everything. About Jennifer. About respect. About what family should mean. And I'm going to spend the rest of my life making this up to you. I promise. I stood up slowly, my voice catching. Come inside. All of you, please. I made cookies this afternoon, the gingerbread kind, with the icing you like. We went inside together. The house felt warm and alive again after days of emptiness. The kids ate cookies at my kitchen table, their faces lighting up with each bite. Michael and I talked while they played. We really talked, honestly, for the first time in years. He told me he was filing for divorce from Jennifer, that it was already in motion, that he would pay back every cent of the $4,000, even if it took time, that he understood now about the trust fund, about why I had to revoke it, that he loved me and was deeply sorry he had forgotten how to show it, how to honor it. We didn't fix everything that night. How could we? But we started, and starting felt like everything. At 9:30 p.m., Michael bundled the sleepy kids into their coats and scarves. Emma hugged me goodbye at the door, whispering, "I love you," into my shoulder. Jacob asked eagerly if they could come back next week, his eyes hopeful. Sophie had fallen asleep in my arms on the couch, her breath warm and steady against my neck. I stood on my porch in the December cold, watching them drive away down my street. The red taillights disappeared around the corner, and I felt something I hadn't felt since Richard died, since I lost my anchor in this world. Hope. Not desperate, naive hope built on wishful thinking, but real hope. Solid hope. The kind built on truth and accountability and people actually trying to change. Jennifer would face justice in a court of law. Michael would learn, slowly and painfully, to be a better son. The children would know their grandmother, truly know her, not as an ATM or a convenience, but as a person. And I would keep living with purpose, keep fighting for what's right, keep refusing to be invisible or diminished. Because I had learned something profound in these 48 hours. Being old doesn't mean being powerless or irrelevant. Being kind doesn't mean accepting cruelty or mistreatment. Loving someone deeply doesn't mean letting them hurt you repeatedly without consequence. I had learned that sometimes the most loving thing you can do is say no firmly, is set clear boundaries, is demand better behavior and refuse to settle for less. 48 hours ago, I had walked out of that Christmas dinner completely broken, carrying my rejected scarf and my shattered dignity. Today, I was standing on my porch in the cold night air, having reclaimed my dignity and started rebuilding my relationship with my son on honest terms. 48 hours. That's all it took to change absolutely everything. 6 months have passed since that Christmas. 6 long months since I walked out carrying my rejected scarf and my shattered dignity in pieces. It's June 25th now. The world has turned green and warm. I'm sitting in my garden in the evening light, right where I was watering tomatoes when Michael first called asking for money all those months ago. The tomatoes are ripe now, heavy on the vine. I pick them carefully and think about how much can change in less than a year, how life can transform completely. Jennifer pleaded guilty to 5 counts of elder fraud in court, 3 years in prison with mandatory restitution to all her victims. She's currently serving her sentence in a facility 2 hours from here. I don't visit her. I don't write letters. I don't think about her unless I absolutely have to. She's a closed chapter. Michael comes religiously every Sunday with the kids. We have dinner together around my table. Sometimes it's awkward, the conversation's stilted. Sometimes the silences stretch too long, and we both remember what was broken between us, the damage that was done. But we're trying hard. That's what matters most. Emma turned 8 years old last month. I took her shopping for her birthday, just the two of us, grandmother and granddaughter time. She asked me to tell her stories about Richard, about her grandfather she never met. "Do I remind you of him, Grandma?" she asked seriously while we ate ice cream. "Every single day, sweetheart," I told her honestly, my throat tight. She has his eyes, those same intelligent hazel eyes, his curiosity about the world, his fundamental goodness that shines through. Jacob draws me pictures every single week without fail. Stick figures of us holding hands, a house with a garden, a smiling sun. I hang every single one proudly on my refrigerator. My kitchen looks like a child's art gallery now, and I love it. Sophie still calls me Gammy in her sweet toddler voice. She's 3.5 now. She asks me to read The Velveteen Rabbit every visit, never tiring of it, the one about becoming real through being loved. Every time I read it aloud, I cry at the same part, where the rabbit learns that being real means being worn and threadbare and loved despite imperfections, despite not being shiny and new. The trust fund money, all $75,000, went to the National Center on Elder Abuse. In Richard's name, a legacy of justice. They told me gratefully it would fund legal advocacy for victims like me, like Gloria Chen, like all the other forgotten elderly people who've been taken advantage of. Richard would have liked that purpose. His legacy is justice and protection. The $4,000 was repaid in full. Michael sends me $300 monthly now, every month, always on the first. He never misses a payment, never makes excuses. I don't need the money financially, but I take it because it's profoundly important for him to give it. Important for him to feel the weight of what was taken, to understand consequences. The house feels different now, lighter somehow. I've redecorated Richard's office completely, painted it a cheerful yellow, turned it into a craft room where I make quilts in the evenings. I sell them at the local farmers market on Saturdays. The money goes into a college fund for Emma, Jacob, and Sophie. Their mother stole from their future. I'm building it back, piece by piece. Mrs. Patterson and I have become genuinely close friends. We have tea every Thursday afternoon without fail. We share our loneliness openly, and somehow it becomes less lonely through sharing. She's patiently teaching me to knit. I'm terrible at it, hopeless really. We laugh together about my lopsided scarves that look like abstract art. Last week, Michael asked something completely unexpected. "Mom, I've been thinking seriously about therapy, for me and the kids, family therapy. Would you come with us? The therapist thinks it might really help our healing." Would I sit in a room and talk about how my son hurt me, how Christmas was ruined, how I felt erased? Yes, without hesitation. Because that's what real healing requires. Honesty, discomfort, truth. We had our first session together 3 days ago. Emma talked about feeling confused and torn, loving her mother but knowing she did bad things, criminal things. Jacob cried because he misses Jennifer despite everything, because 3-year-olds don't understand complexity. Michael talked about guilt, heavy guilt, about not knowing how to be both a good husband and a good son, about the impossible choice he thought he faced. And I talked about forgiveness, about how it's not a light switch you flip, it's a process, a choice you make consciously every single day. Some days I choose it, some days I can't. And I'm learning gradually that's okay, that's human. The therapist asked me directly what I want from this process, this journey. I thought for a long time, choosing my words carefully. I want my grandchildren to know they come from strength, not weakness. I want them to see that their Gammy didn't stay quiet when she was hurt, that she demanded better, that she survived and thrived. And I want my son to know that love without respect isn't love at all. It's just need. And need isn't enough to build a healthy life on. Michael squeezed my hand tightly. We sat there together, mother and son, broken and healing, real, finally real. I've been asked many times by neighbors, by friends, by Gloria Chen, if I regret filing charges against Jennifer, if I regret revoking the trust fund so decisively, if I regret destroying my son's marriage. I don't. Not even slightly. I didn't destroy his marriage. Jennifer did that when she chose theft over honesty, when she chose manipulation over integrity. I simply refused to be a victim. I simply demanded justice. I simply said no. And if that makes me vindictive in some people's eyes, if that makes me a difficult old woman, then so be it. I'd rather be difficult and dignified than easy and erased from existence. Sometimes I think about that specific moment. December 25th at 7:52 p.m. Hearing Jennifer say dismissively that I contributed nothing. Feeling invisible, worthless, like a ghost in my own family. I think about how dangerously close I came to accepting that, to believing it, to walking away quietly and never fighting back, never standing up. And then I think about who I am now, 6 months later. A woman who stood up for herself fiercely, who protected other vulnerable victims, who rebuilt her relationship with her son on terms of mutual respect and honesty. That woman wouldn't exist if I had stayed silent that night, if I had swallowed my hurt and smiled. So no, I don't regret it, not for one single second. I'm 69 years old. I live in a small house. I eat simple meals and drive an old car. I'm not rich. I'm not important in the world's eyes. I'm not someone the world notices when I walk down the street. But I matter. I matter deeply to my grandchildren who need me. I matter to my son who is learning painfully to be better. I matter to the victims who found courage in my story when they heard it. I matter to myself, finally. And maybe that's the real lesson here. You teach people how to treat you. Not by what you say, but by what you accept. And when you stop accepting cruelty, when you stop accepting erasure, absolutely everything changes. People will call you difficult. They'll say you're overreacting. They'll tell you to forgive and forget quickly. They'll make you feel like demanding respect is somehow wrong, ungracious. But it's not wrong. It's necessary. It's survival. It's dignity. I spent too many years merely existing, being quiet, being grateful for scraps, accepting less because I thought that's all I deserved at my age. Not anymore. Never again. Now I live fully. I demand. I expect. I refuse. And my life is infinitely richer for it. The sun is setting beautifully over my garden. I can smell the jasmine blooming. I can hear Mrs. Patterson's wind chimes tinkling. I can taste the lemonade I made this morning with fresh lemons. I'm alone in this moment, but I'm not lonely. I'm strong, because I chose to be, because I fought. And if you're listening to this story, if you're in a similar situation where someone is taking from you, diminishing you, erasing you, making you feel small, please know this with certainty. You are not too old to fight back. You are not too weak to demand better. You are not too insignificant to matter. You matter. Your dignity matters. Your voice matters. Use it. Speak up. Roar if you have to. Say no firmly. Set boundaries clearly. Demand respect always. File charges if you need to. Cut people off if you must. Choose yourself. Because at the end of the day, you have to live with yourself. And I would rather live knowing I fought, knowing I stood up, knowing I refused to be a victim, than live with regret and the shame of silence. My name is Helen Morrison. I'm 69 years old. I'm a widow, a mother, a grandmother, a quilter, a survivor, a fighter, and I'm not invisible anymore.